Good evening and welcome to the programme. For months, the White House and the Pentagon have deflected questions about the strike on a school as the war in Iran began. Today, that shifted. More than 150 people, mostly girls, were killed according to Iran, and the evidence has pointed to an American missile. Sky's Dominic Waghorn was the first international journalist to visit the site. Here's some of his report, which we brought you last night.
The missile struck in the middle of the morning when the school was full of children, causing enormous loss of life. Staff at the school had already realised that Iran was under attack that morning and called parents to take their children home. Most of them didn't get here in time. Survivors say that most of the children, the girls on the upper floor of the school, were moved to that end of the building to a prayer room for their safety. When the missiles struck, they killed many children and teachers on impact, but they also tragically collapsed completely that end of the school, trapping and killing many more.
Dominic Waghorn there. Well, this afternoon, the top US military leader in the Middle East was pressed in Congress for information on the bombing and why the investigation is taking so long. Just have a listen.
So the investigation is ongoing. As soon as it is complete, I'm happy to be as transparent as possible.
We will not take responsibility for something we very obviously did.
So it's a complex investigation. The school itself is located on an active IRGC cruise missile base.
Absolutely.
It's more complex than the average strike. As soon as we're complete, I'm fully committed to transparency, given your important oversight role and the other members here.
Just so you know, and I have an enormous amount of respect for you and an enormous amount of respect for the Pentagon, I do not trust that answer.
Note what Admiral Brad Cooper claimed, that the school was on an active missile site run by Iran's Revolutionary Guard. Previous reports have suggested the strike was accidental due to outdated information about a base near the school. Meanwhile, President Trump has revealed how close he was to launching a new round of attacks on Iran and ending the fragile ceasefire.
I was an hour away. We were all set to go. You're talking about yesterday.
Yes.
We were going to be striking it would have been happening right now. Yeah, it was all done. The boats, the ships are all loaded. They're loaded to the brim. And we were all set to start.
Well, more on that shortly, but first an update from Dominic Waghorn in the Iranian city of Minab, where the school strike happened. He gives his take on what Admiral Cooper said today. Have a listen.
Pretty painful listening to Admiral here, sort of wriggling under congressional cross-examination and not answering the question. The question was, was America behind the attack on this school that killed at least 150 people, 120 of them children, and he said America does not target civilians. That is not the question he was asked to answer, as he was reminded, and he simply wouldn't answer that question, which will, I think, add to the frustration of people here who say that for almost 3 months now, they've wanted answers, and America will simply not do what it's done in the past in Iraq and Afghanistan, where when all the evidence is stacking up against it, these were American-made Tomahawk missiles. That morning, the Americans were targeting a number of targets in the area. With all that evidence against them, why not just say what they've done in the past, which is, yes, we were behind it. It was a mistake. We're now trying to work out why. We've been to the school a number of times this week, and I can categorically tell you it is a school, or was a school. It's now a pile of rubble. It is not a missile base. It's not on a missile base. It's been a school for at least 10 years. It's marked on maps, has been marked on maps for at least 10 years as a primary school. If you look at it from satellites, you'll see playgrounds, you'll see the markings of football pitches as well. A lot of the kids there, we've spoken to their parents, were soccer mad. So you could see it was a primary school. And we've spoken to, as I say, parents, teachers, nurses, children as well, and we've asked most of them, because there were and have been these reports that it was near or part of a military base. You know, has it been, or is it anywhere near a military base? Have you seen any evidence of military activity? And they've all said no. Now, there are some maps that show it is adjacent to or close to buildings that there are some reports linking to the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard Corps, and some of those buildings may have connections or may have had connections. with the IRGC. But I can categorically tell you that nowhere near the school that we've been to and filmed for almost a week is there any evidence of military activity. It's certainly not on an active IRGC military base, unless that's a bunker deep underground, which I think we would know by now because there's a big crater in the middle of this school caused by cruise missiles.
Tom Waghorn there. Well, let's go straight to Washington and speak to our US correspondent, Mark Stone. Mark, just getting some of Dom's reactions to what Admiral Cooper had to say, but I'm keen to get your reaction too, because of course we've been watching this afternoon, and of course in the openers of the show as well, you confronting the Admiral.
Yes, he was here again today. He's based down in Tampa in Florida, which is the headquarters of Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper. But he was up here today for a second day. He was here last week and then back today. Last week he faced questions from senators. Today it was the turn of Congress people on Capitol Hill to ask him the questions that many others want to ask as well. And as you saw in the clips you played, they didn't get a great deal out of him. What they did get, though, was a kind of new version of events, because for the first time he appeared to be suggesting that the school was on the site of an active IRGC missile launch site. As we've just discussed, there is no evidence of that. But that's a new claim, because prior to that, there were some suggestions, again, all kind of conjecture, that perhaps it was a wrongly targeted AI being used perhaps for the targeting. None of this confirmed, because the Pentagon has not revealed anything and just hides behind these comments. So, look, it was an opportunity to try and speak to him directly, to get up close to him and to ask him what happened. Admiral Mark Stone from Sky News. Can you explain why you cannot reveal what happened in Minab?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
Investigation's ongoing.
For how long can you hide behind an investigation is ongoing, sir? We have a team in Minab right now. They have seen what happened. They have seen no evidence of a Iranian missile base there. For how long can you hide behind an investigation is happening, sir? When will the investigation conclude? Admiral, can you tell us when the investigation will conclude? Can you say anything to the families who died in Minab, sir? Now, following that encounter, I have had quite an interesting conversation with a source close to the Admiral, who has explained in a little more detail why they are arguing, why they say there is a delay to the result of the investigation. Now, the claim is that they will not jump the gun and announce at any, as Don was saying, they won't say, look, we did it, but we don't know why it happened. They want to wait, so they say, until they have the investigation complete before they reveal the whole thing. And they say, that the suggestion I'm getting from sources is that there are different departments involved in the investigation. So a general officer who is not part of CENTCOM is in charge of the investigation. So it's not quite like they're marking their own homework. There is an officer who is not part of the department within the military who is prosecuting this war. That officer is in charge of the investigation. He's gathering evidence from all sorts of different agencies, including probably the likes of the CIA, and they are waiting for all that to come together before they reveal anything. But it doesn't answer why this is taking quite so long. This strike was back in February, the end of February. It is now May, and we have absolutely no answers.
Yeah, and when you look at previous US strikes in places like Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, investigations have been concluded within weeks. So the fact that, as you say, this has taken so long is what is shifting from the usual standard US response to these things. But Mark, I just want to shift your attention away from that and focus on what Donald Trump has been saying as well today, because yesterday, you told us that he had called off the strike on Iran, which was planned for today. He gave us a little bit more detail around that.
Yeah, the president gave an impromptu tour of his ballroom site, the site of the old East Wing at the White House, demolished now. A ballroom is being built. And as part of that tour that he gave, he did answer some questions about Iran. He put a bit more detail on that post that we had yesterday, where he said that because of conversations with leaders of Gulf Arab countries, he had decided to call off a strike that he had, up until that point, decided would happen today. There is, behind the scenes, we know, a lot ongoing in terms of negotiations. We know, too, that the likes of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, perhaps UAE as well, are very concerned about what the blowback would be, the impact, the retaliation would be of a resumption of American airstrikes on Iran. They are in the targeted firing line from Iranian retaliation. I think it's clear now that behind the scenes they have put some pressure on the Americans, certainly the Saudis, and said, look, don't go ahead with this, don't resume this conflict now. It's also quite helpful for the president to be able to lean back on that pretext that, you know, them saying, don't do this now, because frankly, he does not want to resume this conflict. What he wants is for Iran to capitulate. What he wants is an off-ramp. What he wants is all this to come to a conclusion, not least because the Strait of Hormuz is still such a massive problem economically for all of us. But he doesn't want to be seen to be backing down. He is in a corner right now.
Mark, as always, thanks so much.